Good Wednesday afternoon, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love CVille Show. We're live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille Network. Every social media platform humanly possible airing this show right now. It's good to be with you. We'll spend 30 minutes with Yaz Washington, who made an announcement that she's going to run for Charlottesville City Council. I will give you a quick update on the race before we welcome Yaz Washington to the program. Folks, we have Juan Diego Wade, Brian Pinkston. They made their announcement about 3 weeks ago. Mayor Nikia Walker has announced that she will run again. And now we have Yaz Washington in the mix. I'm excited to introduce folks that follow the I Love CVille Network to her platform, her brand, and what she stands for. Judah Wickhauer's the director. Why don't we go to the studio camera, Judah, and let's welcome Yaz to the show. Yaz, you literally have every media outlet in town watching right now. So congratulations on the announcement. I know it's the first step in a long line of hard work. First, who is Yaz Washington?
Cool. So, my name is Yaz Washington. I'm 23. I'm a Charlottesville native, so I have grassroots to the community. I take pride in being able to not only address social issues, but to be able to provide solutions that are effective for all. So,
Let's do this. You say you grew up in the community. Yeah. Let's talk about that, growing up. Let's talk about, what you remember, and then let's talk about why you make this run for council. First, where'd you go to school? How was childhood? What do you remember?
Cool. So I went to Greer Elementary, Jack Jewett, and then I graduated from Albemarle High School. My mom is like Claudette Green, so basically I grew up surrounded around a lot of community involvement, engagement, stuff like that. She currently works at CRHA, so basically growing up being very the humanitarian type of culture and everything like that.
Why Charlottesville in 2021 is a chaotic place.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that fair?
Yeah, definitely.
It seems like from our perspective, it's on Tuesday we have bickering on council. Right. Michael Payne comes here yesterday, and he's like, look, we're working hard. We want to emphasize the positive, but you're 23, the world's your oyster, so much ahead of you. Why take this challenge on now?
Right, exactly. Well, basically right now, it's already a lot going on politically due to COVID-19. So having to not only address that, but to be able to apply or implement different policies and stuff like that actually makes people feel comforted, but also too making sure that we're tackling the financial crisis that's taking place, as well as the obvious health scare behind it all, and making sure that we're remaining, safe and everything like that despite the pandemic. But also too, I think right now is a great opportunity with, everybody kind of being at home and working remotely to really be working to build the city up and kind of working on the infrastructure and everything like that. So making sure that projects so far as West Main or, reconfiguring the school. And then also too, right now is a great time to really analyze the school system, I believe. So far as they're referring to virtual education and everything like that, and that model as hybrid. So I think making sure that we're really able to mold students into self-sufficient individuals, especially speaking of high school. K through 5, I think they're doing pretty fine so far as being able to engage with the classroom structure. Sure. But then I feel there might be a lag with high school. So I feel being able to address education kind of has fell by the wayside. So that's where I want to come in and be that enthusiast, but also to be able to provide solutions and really effective methods, making sure that we're prioritizing the budget. And being able to actually not only talk about these things in city council meetings, but to actually be able to, put a little bit of action behind it.
Yeah, some shoe leather, some pop, proof of performance is what we call it in my business. So much to get to. Vanessa Parkhill giving you props. She says you're 23 years old. Thank you for taking the leap into the challenging arena of local politics. You literally have every media outlet watching you right now. All right, so much I want to cover right now. Let's just talk straightforward here. So I respect anyone who's willing to get into this arena.
Yeah.
Were folks talking you out of it at all? Or did everyone say, let's go for it, Yaz, because you can make a difference? I'm just curious. Because I'd like to do it, and it's funny, like so many in my network, including immediate family, has shown worry. It's like worry for me. It's like, do you think this is a good idea? Have you gotten any of that?
All in all, I got a lot of support. I have a lot of people backing me. I probably had like one or two people that were like, right now? Like, you want to do this right now?
How would you characterize right now?
I think right now, just all in all, with city council just now getting a new city manager. Trying to make sure that we can keep a chief for the city as well is really important.
Chief Brackney.
Yeah, exactly right. But also to making sure that the grunt work is being done to actually work on the infrastructure and make sure that we can build the local government up to make sure that everybody's kind of working efficiently and being able to actually be about an action plan and being able to implement those important programs and projects that help lead the city towards progression.
I like it. I said on yesterday's show with Michael Payne that this election is the most important election in Charlottesville, Virginia history. And here's why. We have a $50 million plus West Main Streetscape project. We have a 12 to 15 million Market Street garage project. That's the linchpin or the keystone to honoring an agreement with Albemarle County to keep the courts downtown. We have school reconfiguration. We're still figuring out what to do with the statues. We have Friendship Court and what we're going to do with Friendship Court from a funding standpoint, from a vision standpoint. We have a city manager. We got Chip Boyles. Is Chip Boyles the long-term guy? Or is he the short-term guy?
Exactly right.
School reconfiguration, which I just said. I mean, there is a budget that is reeling because of COVID. This is the most important election in Charlottesville, Virginia history. What are your thoughts on that?
Whoa. And that's kind of like everything that I've been digesting and stuff like that. So I've definitely been like looking, making sure that I'm keeping up on the social issues, but also too making sure that I'm keeping up on what's going on politically, so far as our local government. Also too, analyzing what's going on in the bigger picture as well and how that impacts our city. So,
what does that mean?
So far as the bigger picture, okay, well, all in all, COVID has kind of like changed or refocused the values. So, we're talking about environmental sustainability, criminal justice reform, equitable education, which is the basis of my platform. So I think, but also too, this is a time and a period where people are beginning to really take the activism leap very seriously, which I love a lot. So yeah, being able to incorporate all of that into my platform, and that's really important to me. So.
You got the Richmond Times-Dispatch watching you right now, Daily Progress, NBC 29, CBS 19. I expect Yaz is going to be in the news cycle immediately with her campaign and platform after this interview. You said equitable education is the centerpiece of your platform. Let's kind of paint a picture of COVID and education in COVID. We have the Covenant School and St. Anne's Belfield as examples. They're running school as if it's business as usual, with students learning in person, in classrooms or an outdoor setting, and they're on achievement levels that were 2019 or better, meaning they have not skipped a beat.
Right.
Then we have city schools since February of March of 2020. So we're approaching an entire year now.
Absolutely.
Where they've learned basically virtually. The first 6 months, depending the parent you ask, they said their kids will learn nothing. So from an equity standpoint in education, it seems like this pandemic is creating an Mississippi River type divide between the haves and have-nots in education. Anywhere you want to go.
Yeah, I think also too everything from accessibility to technology. Making sure that they're in supportive environments, even if that is a virtual setting. Making sure that they have access to teachers or resources. Making sure that they can have additional tutoring and stuff like that. All in all, also too, what I was wondering about is attendance. And if possibly there will need to be like maybe like a test or something like that, not like necessarily a placement test, but to make sure that everyone actively learned over the course of COVID, I think is very important. So more so, even if I think that there's things that could be changed now, but I also too, I think it's very important how teachers and administration within the schools will address reentry.
Do we think local government has managed the pandemic well so far?
I actually do. I think that they've definitely taken the initiative to make sure that they're addressing low-income families and the disparities that they're experiencing due to COVID, or just like individuals who are unemployed, and making sure that I do believe it was like the CACF offered different types of financial support and backing, also to making sure that they're doing the COVID testing and then having, fresh produce available as well. So, and then also too, so far as I think public housing, they made it so that they didn't have to pay rent. So making sure that their rent was covered. Stuff like that's been very important. So I do think that they've definitely addressed the financial hardship behind things. I think that the only thing that, and what I noticed at the past couple of meetings, the thing that does happen to fall by the wayside is all in all being able to comfort the city during such a hard time.
Okay, let's go down that road then. And people are giving you props. So the cool thing about this show is we're going to spend long-form content with Yaz, so you get to know her. And you can also ask her questions or give her encouragement or give her props for running for council. You're getting props now from Michelle Tanner, Jasmine Thurston, Chris Jackson, Armani Williams, all giving you props. You still have the Times-Dispatch, the CVille, and the Daily Progress watching you. Carol Thorpe, Kelly Lewis, Georgia Gilmer giving you props right now. Many questions coming in. Ben D'Alessandro of VABA will get to your question. Charlottesville Catholic School also did in-person education. We have a mom highlighting that, so I want to emphasize that on the feed. Let's talk about leadership in Charlottesville. My business is I Love CVille. My business is a microcosm of how a lot of taxpayers and small and medium-sized business owners are feeling in the city. We're concerned that leadership from council is such that it's bickering, and it's such that it's Young and the Restless or soap opera, and that the region or the Commonwealth sees this. Yeah. Even people that live in Charlottesville see this. And because of that, Yaz, it's in some ways we're a laughingstock.
Yeah.
And it's just it's sad because and I'm getting choked up here because it's I've been here, not as long as you, I've been here almost 21 years. And
whoa.
I love Charlottesville. So I call my business I Love CVille. And to see the leaders in Charlottesville in the last city council meeting where the mayor is calling another councilor on the record, on the dais, in council, a white supremacist, a racist, and they're screaming, where Sina McGill is putting her hand in her face. Humiliating. Heather is trying to stop the bickering between Lloyd and Mayor Walker. I mean, as a citizen, which you are, what is the view of leadership now and how it's reflected from a mood for us in Charlottesville? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely does. All in all, to reestablish a sense of security, stability, and structure, it's very important that our local government and our officials and administration are seen as strong individuals, but also having a sense of togetherness. Because if our local government is not together and they can't function and operate and be effective and can be able to communicate with one another, how can we actually get stuff accomplished? And then all in all, that kind of puts, I feel the city at odds, because they're the face, and they're basically the ones that are not only advocating for what's best for us, but they're supposed to, in return, be able to give us a sense of okay, everything's going to be okay, and then that structure and backing that we need. So when you do see stuff like that, it starts to become very chaotic, and then it also too does make local government kind of seem questionable. So it's
like
not really,
optics, right?
Right. It's not really what should I say? Reaffirming the fact that we have a strong local government.
Trust.
It's not. Yeah. So then, all in all, amongst amongst local government and amongst city council, it is important that each individual is actively like taking part of the action, but also to making sure that they're able to communicate with one another. And so that's kind of something that I've seen too. So then, you know, when you need people, to back that is very overwhelming. I also noticed that too.
How did we get to this point?
Right. So I think that with COVID, COVID is putting a lot of stress on people. I believe everything from, you know, mental health to physical health, but also too, it's a lot going on and there's a lot that needs to be addressed. So I feel like that additional stress load could possibly pull people apart and cause a lot of tension that may not have already have been there. So, you know, and then also, too, when you're like, okay, we're trying to discuss, the West Main, and then, or like reconfiguring the schools and the budget. And then there's, you know, other individuals who live in Charlottesville who would like to address what's going on with UVA so far as being able to provide descendants with scholarships, or being able to address like what's going on amongst like low-income families. So yeah, it's a lot, and I think that all in all, being able to have like direct answers for people is really important, and you know, making sure that they're working in a timely fashion with prioritization and everything like that.
I respect everything you've said. I respect your honesty, your transparency. I'll ask you items in the news cycle now, because there are items that are going to undoubtedly come up between now and November 3rd. Whether you're doing a debate with other candidates, Juan Diego Wade, Brian Pinkston, Mayor Walker, or speaking with the media, the first one's got to be the West Main Streetscape Project. Michael Payne was on set yesterday in that chair on that microphone yesterday saying, I can't possibly vote in favor of the West Main Streetscape Project because of the prioritization of that project over a school reconfiguration.
Absolutely.
Mayor Walker also is going to vote most likely against the West Main Streetscape Project. Snook and Hill are in favor of it, at least the first 3 phases of the West Main Streetscape Project, Councilor Hill and Councilor Snook. Meaning Cedar McGill is probably going to be the difference maker or the vote that determines this. West Main Streetscape Project, here's the direct question. $50-some million. Some of that money is contributed by Virginia, $18 million. $5 million is contributed by UVA, so that's $23 million of a $53 million project. If you were on the dais and you get elected, do you go yes to the West Main Streetscape Project?
I honestly believe that, like, when you put the West Main project and you look at it and adjacent to reconfiguring the schools, I honestly believe that reconfiguring the schools is more important. But also, too, I do believe that it's important to make sure that projects aren't being introduced or started and then kind of like put at a standstill, because then that's really awkward too. It's like, we're going to start this, but then like, no, not really, because then we have this going on.
Because this project has been in the works since 1988.
Right.
So this project has been in the works for 33 years. And now, when or if you get on council, you could be a determining factor of a $52 million project that's been in the works for 33 years.
Right. And that's absolutely insane.
Have you thought about that? Have you thought about that?
Right. So, yeah, I've definitely been making sure that, you know, I'm actively, like, attending the council meetings, you know, with my notebook, taking notes and stuff like that, you know, making sure that I'm staying up on, like, the media and everything, local government, as well as, you know, sometimes I'll pivot and I'm like, okay, I'll jump here and kind of analyze what's going on in, like, other cities and how they're addressing things, because, you know, sometimes it's not like the worst thing in the world to do. It's kind of like, okay, well, what provisional strides have they made? And how did they address this? Or like, you know, just better ways to be able to make sure that the city is progressing, and that, you know, that's a long time for a project to be like, you know, kind of like midair. Because
you speak to the institutional memory, and you're totally right. The institutional memory is like, if the project's been in the pipeline for this long, and if at the finish line the project is yanked off the table, then what does that do for morale for everyone that's worked on the project to this point?
Right. And then also too, also too, like accountability and making sure that like, being able to hold individuals accountable who are also like introducing these projects, but making sure that there's someone who's actively analyzing the budget to make sure that these projects can be funded is important as well. So,
See, that's the thing. And, I guess if I was lobbying you, which in this particular circumstance, I am going to try to lobby you or offer perspective. The school reconfiguration project is nowhere near go or start. There's so much more homework that needs to be done before the reconfiguration actually happens. And the West Main Streetscape project is at the go, the green point, the let's go. It's been in the works since '88. The money from the Commonwealth, $18 million, will go away, and it's going to go to a roundabout in Orange County. So if Charlottesville City says no to $18 million, Orange County is going to say, I'm going to box you out, Charlottesville, get the hell out of the way. Right. I'm going to take that money and build a roundabout in Orange County.
Right.
The $5 million from UVA will also go away. So from my standpoint, the maintaining morale in City Hall, maintaining the momentum of a project that's been in the works since 1988, making sure you scoop up the $18 million from the Commonwealth of Virginia, the $5 million from the University of Virginia, and taking the most important part of Charlottesville, which is between the downtown mall and the UVA. It seems like, to me, it's like a no-brainer. I'll throw this to you. Market Street parking garage is another hot topic. Albemarle County, City of Charlottesville, the parking garage was the centerpiece to keeping the courts downtown. Councilor Snook and Councilor Payne have now gone on the record and said, perhaps the Market Street parking garage, maybe we don't do it. What's your stance on this garage?
Right. So the garage is basically going to make it more, sufficient for individuals who work downtown, also to individuals who do work in the courts and everything like that. While I do think it's important, I do believe that there's other things that we could be focusing on and other things that, the money could better be spent on, to be completely honest.
So you would say no to the garage,
right?
If get elected, okay. So no to the Market Street garage. So and at that point, we would just maintain the backup option of the agreement with Albemarle County to keep the courts downtown. I think that's where we're heading, guys, with the Market Street garage. I just don't see that becoming a reality. I got to ask you. This is the toughest topic yet. And it's been in the news cycle, and it's my job, to ask these questions, especially if you're running for council. What did you make of the topic and the storyline that broke on Super Bowl Sunday with Mayor Walker's Facebook Live and the admission of using a city credit card to buy gift cards to then give those gift cards to people who spoke at city council meetings? What did you make of that story?
So basically, it would seem like there's sort of an incentive backing behind doing that. And I just honestly don't think that that's where money should be spent at. Okay. It shouldn't be spent, okay, gotcha, with going to people that speak at meetings, is what you're saying. Right. Gotcha. Ben D'Alessandro has this question. Can you list credentials and experience again? I've enjoyed the interview. I just want to hear more on the candidate's background. That's from Coach Ben D'Alessandro. So, again, my name's Yaz. I'm 23, and I've worked for Jim Hensley, who ran for Commonwealth District Attorney for Albemarle County, and then I also worked for Camryn Webb, who ran for Congress. So I have a lot of political involvement so far as working on campaigns, wanting to pivot and be more about action as opposed to, helping get people elected, but to help be a part of the voice and the decision making behind that or in front of that. Herb Porter, he was the one-time Neighborhood Association president in Fifeville. I believe, Herb, you had that role as president of the Neighborhood Association. Was it 11 years, Herb? I think it was 11 years. He says, howdy, ma'am. Two-part question for you. Do you feel that public housing in Charlottesville is spread fairly around the city? And if not, how do you plan to make it more fairly distributed within city boundaries? It's a good question. Well, it definitely is. So far as public housing, I do believe that it is evenly distributed amongst the city. I also believe that, there's discussions about zoning and how that will impact affordability as well as increasing accessibility to low-income housing or just affordable housing all in all.
Can I play devil's advocate for the sake of a talk show?
Sure.
Okay. From my standpoint, sake of a talk show, from my standpoint, the public housing in the city of Charlottesville is not spread evenly. And from my standpoint, we've created pockets of public housing, which is essentially creating pockets of vulnerable people who are living on the financial margin. You don't see public housing in Fry Springs, Johnson Village, Greenbrier, North Downtown, traditionally white and wealthy neighborhoods. Perhaps Herb's comment as the president of the Fifeville Neighborhood Association was maybe a more direct call to action, and I think the direct call to action is, if elected, which I think your platform is badass. I think it's badass, and I think your guts, your courage is amazing. At 23 to do this, like at 23, the only thing I cared about was partying, beautiful women, and doing things I was not supposed to. That's all I did at 23. So the fact that you're doing this, you're well ahead of 99.9% of us from a maturity and achievement standpoint. But yeah, it's like you grew up here. Like, I feel like there's like pockets of this, and it's not spread evenly. And maybe if elected, we need to create a more diverse Charlottesville where like the folks that are living on the margin that need a hand up as opposed to a hand down, like maybe we get them around Charlottesville a little more. What do you think?
I actually think that's pretty interesting. Also, too, in regards to developmental advancements, I had addressed economic mobility, so far as, being able to provide low-income individuals and families with resources, as well as information, education, and stuff like that, to be able to build their assets, also to their making them financially stable, but then also to making sure that we're building people up to be self-sufficient, so that they're not necessarily stuck in these positions, but also to making sure that we're fostering individuals to be more sufficient all in all.
Zach Schlesinger, giving you props right now. Monica Harris says hello. Continue to have all the media outlets watching you. Kelly Lewis watching the program. She asked your take on the shell of a hotel on the downtown mall, the Dewberry or whatever the hotel is called now. If elected, any plans to try to do something with that and what those plans are?
Right. So as we're building Charlottesville up and making sure that we're continuing to advance and become a competitive city, I think it's very important to make sure that we're working on projects like this and being able to, make sure that we're shifting, well, not necessarily shifting the budget, making sure that everything's being handled and taken care of, but also to making sure that we're able to build the city up. And so far as projects like that is very important.
So you make an effort to tear it down? You make an effort to eminent domain? You use blight, that the property is blight and looks crappy and we should take it out? What do you do?
Right. I think completely, if it can't be remodeled, going on ahead and getting rid of it and finding something else that could be better used in that location or space.
I think the only thing that we could possibly do, and I hate to say this as a libertarian, I'm a small and medium-sized business owner. I just want the government out of my pocket. That's really all I want, is I want the government out of my life, and I want to be able to make my own decisions. But that's seriously what I'm serious about that, guys. I think the only thing that you have, if you're elected, the only thing you have is to crack potentially a deal or do a deal with Dewberry, and this deal has got to be a heavily tax incentivized deal to get him to act, because he's paying his taxes. Michael Payne and Mike Signer and Michael Payne both tried to do this, and they failed. I don't know. Do we just get stuck with this for 4 years? I mean, what do you make of this downtown mall and this? What do you make of the state of the downtown mall right now?
Right. I'm sorry. Come again?
Yeah. What do you make of the state of the union of the downtown mall right now?
The state, so far as how it looks on a superficial level and stuff like that.
Well, how would you characterize how the downtown mall is doing right now?
Yeah. So right now, Interesting. I think that all in all, they are probably doing okay. I honestly think that it depends business by business, to be completely honest. So far as were businesses able to remain open, were they able to continue paying their rent, did they have to close down and stuff like that. So I think that it kind of like depends, basis by basis.
Is the role of local government and is the role of city council to stimulate the local economy?
Right.
Is it? I'm asking. Like, are 5 counselors that are on the dais, is it their job to help stimulate the economy? Like, if I'm on council, if I'm on the board of supervisors, I'm going with this mindset of an entrepreneur, of a business owner, and I'm looking at ways to drive incremental revenue for the municipality without having to tax the citizens. That's how I would go about leadership. How can I drive incremental revenue without increasing the tax burden on the people that live in my municipality? That's how I would govern. Is it the role of council to stimulate the economy? Mayor Walker and perhaps Michael Payne would say no. Snook and Heather Hill would perhaps say yes. I'm not sure where McGill would be on this. What is your stance?
Well, all in all, I think making sure that we're addressing the economy is definitely important right now. So far as, increasing government spending, which has already, to a degree, been done, from having private, companies and individuals and investors to, at a city and state level and so on. So making sure that government spending is increased and making sure, obviously it's COVID, it's a pandemic, for the most part, our spending is going to remain the same, which automatically is going to help the economy stay afloat, if not to build it up. Talking about these grant opportunities and stuff like that, which to like kind of sidestep something that's not necessarily city level, but also to unemployment benefits or, PUA and all of that stuff, making sure that people are using this to not only pay their bills, but honestly to build themselves up and to be in a different financial position. So I think the economy is definitely being addressed right now. I think the other parts of going back to is now, another position of mine is criminal justice reform. This
is big with Jim Hingley.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So far as doing a pre-trial policies possibly, which is something that they actually just implemented in Chicago. So
well, here, let me throw this to you, and I don't mean to interrupt here. Marquise Johnson has given you props. He says it's great to hear her speak. I love your views. You can offer perspective to her in the feed. A lot of this perspective is coming in. Good afternoon, Miss Washington from Allison. Is it Argowall? Is giving you some props right now. Here's just this. If you get elected, what exact moves would you do to jumpstart the downtown mall? Okay, I walk I own most of this building that we're in.
Right.
I have 27 tenants. My tenants like to be downtown.
Okay.
But eventually that interest of wanting to be downtown is going to erode and go away if we don't make this not be a ghost town. And if we walk from the Pavilion to the Omni, we see a vacancy rate that's probably around 20%. When in a strong economy, the vacancy rate downtown is roughly 1%. So we are 20x, conservatively, 20x the vacancy rate of a strong economy in 2021 in Charlottesville. If you were elected, how do you resuscitate the downtown mall?
Whoa, well, so that's kind of like a hard one to come at because then you can't kind of like, I'm pretty sure that those are privately owned. So then that's kind of like a weird place of being like, you're going to be renting this for this amount. I feel like the downtown mall is kind of like, you're paying for what you're getting. I have no way of knowing how to come at that. I'm definitely like more of a data and spreadsheet type of person. I love being able to analyze, numbers and kind of being able to go from there. But all in all, I think that would be like a hard one to kind of do. But, making sure that we're attracting businesses that people will want to see on the downtown mall is really important.
I think what we could do, just an idea, and if you're elected, I'm just going to put this little, what's it, Colonel? What's the saying? You plant a seed, plant a kernel. That's Judah Whitcow. If I could plant a kernel, people are scared to eat it. So like the downtown mall goes as the restaurants, and as the music venues go. I think it's first the restaurants. When the downtown mall is like, as we know, you like to go out, I like to go out. When the restaurants are popping, like downtown is vibrant. We're drinking on the patios, we're eating on the patios, we're people watching, we're going to the music venues. But people are scared right now to go to the restaurants. So if you're elected, if I could plant a kernel, I would love to see, and the state of Virginia just made this illegal. The delegates in Richmond just approved this. We can convert the downtown mall into this outdoor drinking area, and you can go to the center of the downtown mall. Here's the idea. We pay someone $15 an hour from Charlottesville that's on the payroll, City Hall. Entry-level employee. They're selling wristbands for $5 a wristband. That $5 stays with the city, and it's new money. It's incremental revenue. And then we give them a wristband and a cup, and then citizens can go to the restaurants on the mall, like Rapture and the Whiskey Jar, fill up their cup, and get some food, and walk around the downtown mall. So like the whole downtown mall would be this outdoor beer garden, outdoor dining area. And it works in New Orleans, and it works in a lot of places, and I think people are nervous about this because of COVID or because it's different. But I think that would be a way, if you're elected, where you could literally jumpstart the economy of the downtown mall. And if you present this idea while on the dais, the business community, if you present this idea while running and make this a part of your platform, the small and medium-sized business community in the city of Charlottesville, I swear to God, will roll out a red carpet for you, put a crown on your head, host parties for you, and get everyone in the city to vote for you. If you figure out a way to save or drive the economy downtown, because then it's going to trickle throughout all of Charlottesville, Virginia. And I truly believe that if you have a $15 an hour employee selling wristbands at $5 a wristband and giving a plastic cup with that wristband, you'd get thousands of dollars of new revenue every day for equitable education. I hear that's important to you. Is that important to you? You want thousands of dollars a day for equitable education?
I agree.
Roll out an outdoor beer garden on the downtown mall if you win. And if you make this part of your platform, I bet you get the victory on November 3rd.
Fridays after 5.
Think about it. Do you think it's a crazy
On
idea?
steroids. That's
You think
Friday
it's a
after
crazy
5.
The delegates in Richmond just allowed this. They said the municipalities in Virginia have the autonomy to determine outdoor drinking areas.
Right.
Seriously, Sally Hudson and crew.
Whoa.
Yeah, just an idea. All right, a couple other things that are coming in here. More questions coming in. How about this one? Yaz, can you let us know why we should vote for you? There's a lot of competition in this race. This is coming from Grace Johnson, who said she's been in Charlottesville for the last 52 years.
Whoa. Okay, so great. So I'm really big on, being able to implement, solutions, but making sure that they're cost effective, which will help our budget. Also, too, making sure that we're not only building the city up through projects and programs, but making sure that we're able to address social issues. Some positions that I'm really highlighting on my platform would be criminal justice reform, equitable education, environmental sustainability, as well as developmental advancements all in all, in regards to economic mobility. And then, so that's basically me. That's where I'm at with everything. And I also, too, think that those are basically like values that have kind of been like revived through COVID. These are, the interest points of what people are heavily focusing on as well.
You've had a little over 20,000 people see you.
Whoa.
On this so far. Marquise Johnson says, he's a board of director at the Haven.
Okay.
Marquise Johnson, he says, please come speak to us at the Haven.
Oh,
we'd
wow.
love to have you.
Great.
Marquise, are you coming on the show, I believe, on Friday, right? I believe you're coming on the show on Friday, Marquise. Marquise Johnson, board of director from the Haven, on the show on Friday. Here's a tough question. It's a fair question. You're obviously likable, you're approachable, you're a leader, people are going to follow you, you're willing to do the work, you've got the experience, grassroots, from Dr. Webb's campaign, Mr. Hingley's campaign, so it's not like this is your first rodeo.
Yeah.
How does a 23-year-old make a difference in Charlottesville, Virginia right now?
Whoa. Well, being enthusiastic about politics, also to being able to implement or even at the very least introduce ideas that are different, ideas that are exhilarating, also to being able to drive the economy up, but being able to make sure that we're taking care of the residents as well, being able to provide remedies that actually work for not just one person, but that are accommodating for everyone.
I love it, Yaz. I wish you the best. Kathy Galvin, one-time city councilor.
Okay.
She's offered to host a live debate here.
Whoa.
And it would be, Kathy Galvin would be the moderator, and it would be all the candidates running for council. Tomorrow, Juan Diego Wade's going to be in studio, so I would think he would say yes. Brian Pinkston, I think, would say yes. I don't think Mayor Walker's going to come.
Right.
I would love to have you. We could do a live debate with you, Brian Pinkston, and Juan Diego Wade, with Kathy Galvin asking questions, and then I'd get all the media to cover it. Are you down for something like that?
Yeah, I think that would be amazing. That's actually something that I was wondering about, and I'm like, okay, being able to actually sit in a room, or making sure that we're still social distancing and stuff like that, but being able to be in a room and basically being able to debate and discuss, our platforms and positions. A debate, you gotta love it. So
yeah.
I'm like, okay,
and I think you would be good at
amazing.
it. You would be good at it. I'm grateful for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll reach out to you again.
Awesome.
Thank you.
No
Good luck.
worries.
Good luck.
Have a good one.
You too. J-Dubs, if we could... All right, that is Yaz Washington. We're grateful for her time here on the show. She is running for Charlottesville City Council. There are 2 spots up for grabs. Those 2 spots are the current seats held by Mayor Nikia Walker and Councilor Heather Hill. We now have 4 candidates in the race. Yaz Washington. Juan Diego Wade will be on the show tomorrow. Let me confirm that. I'm looking at my calendar. Yes, that's right. Juan Diego Wade is on the show tomorrow. Brian Pinkston next week. Mayor Nikia Walker, we've invited you on the show. You're welcome to join us in the debate that Kathy Galvin is going to moderate. I want to put that out there. A couple things that I'd like to do before I close the show, and I'm grateful for you joining us on a Wednesday. Man, it's beautiful outside, is it not? I mean, what a great day to be alive. I have a zest for life every day. Every day I wake up and I want to be the best version of myself. But when it's 65 degrees in February, you have a little more zest or pep in your step, don't you? I certainly do. I think I'll close on this. Give me 2 minutes, okay? This is the most important election in the history of Charlottesville, Virginia. I've outlined the many reasons why. You have school reconfiguration. You have a West Main Streetscape project that's been in the works since 1988. It has $18 million of funding from the Commonwealth of Virginia. If the city of Charlottesville doesn't take that $18 million, it goes to Orange County for a roundabout. You got another $5 million from the University of Virginia, $23 million of a $52 million project. You got a Market Street garage that's the centerpiece of an agreement between Albemarle County and the city of Charlottesville. You got the city manager job hunt, and whether or not Chip Boyles is going to be the long-term city manager, or whether council is going to open up the city manager job search to a national search and get a national candidate. School reconfiguration that's anywhere between $50 to $100 million. A budget deficit tied to COVID-19. Did you know Michael Payne yesterday on the show said if we had not had brought Chip Boyles in as city manager, things like trash collection in the city of Charlottesville may not have happened? That's how much City Hall was in shambles. This is literally according to Michael Payne yesterday on the show. He said on the show, if they had not stabilized the organization that was City Hall by bringing in Chip Boyles as city manager, certain functions like trash collection would not have happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. The local government was that unstable. I think the person who wins this election has a hybrid mentality, and that hybrid mentality is one of economic vitality, that is one of equitable education, and that is one of leadership and unifying the community. Over a 4-year period of time, We've seen how the most vocal leader in Charlottesville has created division in Charlottesville. We've had Maurice Jones leave as city manager, Mike Murphy, Dr. Terrion Richardson, John Blair, and Chip Boyles, 5 city managers in less than 4 years. We have no deputies in City Hall. I guess we have 1 deputy left. 1 deputy city manager left. We have people accepting positions that are over $100,000 and then turning them down before even starting the job and instead going to Powhatan for the job. That literally happened. The person who wins this race comes in with a mindset, a hybrid mindset, a hybrid campaign, a hybrid platform that is A, economic vitality and resuscitating the local economy. In particular, the frontline jobs that are tied to restaurant, hospitality, tourism, and music, the jobs that create diversity, the jobs that create entry-level pay, the jobs that keep Charlottesville from being a white rich playground. We need those jobs back. We need economic vitality as a key point to a candidate's platform. A. B. Finding or bridging the gap with education. COVID is, and Yaz is right, COVID is creating a massive divide in education here. The haves are learning in a classroom like it's 2019 and everything's going according to plan. The have-nots are learning their ABCs, 1, 2, 3s in the coat closet on a Dell notebook from 2016 with spotty internet that buffers every 15 minutes. Equitable education, 2. And then finally, and maybe the most important, the 2 people we elect on council, I hope to God understand the concept of team sports. I grew up playing team sports. When someone on the team wasn't performing well, the rest of the team picked them up. When someone on the team was not living up to accountability or was spending money recklessly or was living in the gray area, the entire team ran suicides. The entire team did push-ups. You know what happens when one person constantly creates drama, spends money irresponsibly, or lives in the gray area during a team and a team sport? You know what happens? That person gets cut from the team. They don't keep their roster spot. I hope with the 2 spots that are open on November 3rd, when you cast your vote, you think team mentality. Can this individual work within the structure of a team? Because right now, that's not the case. And I'll leave it at that. My name is Jerry Miller. It's the I Love CVille Show. Thank you for joining us.